Are you turning 65 soon? At 64 Insurance Group, we know how confusing Medicare can be. Let us guide you through the entire process. And by the way, you don't pay a penny for our services. Don't wait until you're 65 to call. Are you64.com.
New CBS tonight.
The CSRA since 1986.
Hey, it's Anna Christina. President's Day is here, and it's one of the biggest days of the year at Jimmy's Home Furnishings. Come shop the biggest names in mattresses like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Sealy. We're offering free delivery on all mattress purchases. Also, take advantage of up to 40% off select clearance items store-wide, as well as 60-month interest-free financing. Here in Grovetown, located just 2 miles from exit 190. Jimmy's Home Furnishings, where it feels like home.
Brett, what are you doing?
Eliminating some stuff.
First off, pretty sure that's a federal offense. And second, that's for our customers to eliminate their Medicare cards when they come in for a commitment-free consultation.
My bad.
Are you64.com.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 at 6 o'clock.
It was a massive manhunt that drew a lot of attention around here Friday night. We have new details on the theft ring arrest in Columbia County.
These things that come through, it is harmful to businesses.
We're going to hear from the business manager who stopped that gang in its tracks next on News 12 at 6 o'clock. But we begin with the weather tonight, and the First Alert Radar Network lit up in green and yellow today.
Yeah, luckily the rain isn't done yet. Riley, what can we expect as we head into tonight?
Yeah, guys, we still have the chance for rain this evening, but wind's not a factor right now, but we'll show you how much it's picking up tonight in just about 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Riley. The flooding woes continue in Burke County. The Midville Police Department says parts of downtown are closed to traffic. Parts of Trout Street and Ivy Lane are also closed from flooding in that area. Half a mile from there, Murphy Street, they're down to 1 lane because of flooding, so just be careful if you're heading out that way.
So all this rain causing some drainage issues on local roads, and several creeks are filled to the brim, running fast right now. We've seen a couple of inches to 3 inches, as Riley just mentioned, across parts of Richmond County and surrounding counties. So far, the steady rain has not created any serious damage.
But some neighborhoods are feeling the familiar sting of those flooded yards. Craig Allison has been looking around Richmond County to see the worst of the flooding today.
Flooded street blocks downtown and curbsides overrun with water. Some areas, like Reynolds Street near Freedom Bridge, are doing better at keeping the storm down compared to last month. Still, storm drains are working overtime to keep up with the flow, but in some spots, manhole covers are overflowing, sending the water back out.
I don't know what future will bring. I did see a man one time from the city checking the drains out here, but I mean, they're still in the same condition. And
Ruthie Foss has been living on Kemp Drive for more than 2 years now and says the rising water is attacking homes from both sides, overflowing from the street into their yards, and a backyard rapid that rises close to the home every time it rains even a little.
the creek comes up, in the blink of an eye, and it's like a river back there. So I was just standing in the backyard looking at how high the water was, and came 5 people in inner tubes came, inner tubing down the creek.
There hasn't been much progress, despite Ms. Foss calling the city for help. While today's storm is relatively being kept at bay, she fears when something more serious rolls through and brings a river to her front yard. In Augusta, Craig Allison, on your side.
And while we did report on 2022 audit findings of the stormwater fees showing that some of those have not been spent yet, commissioners say a lot of the projects you're seeing now didn't start until 2023. So Augusta Engineering is telling us that floodwater will eventually start to drain after a few hours when the rain stops.
We have an update tonight from the I-Team about 2 Richmond County deputies arrested Friday from an incident that happened almost 2 years ago.
Johnny Atkinson and Austin Birch are charged with battery in violation of oath of office. Atkinson is also charged with aggravated assault. Investigators say both arrests are tied to unnecessary force at the Charles B. Webster Detention Center. In a news release, the sheriff's office says it became aware of this incident on Thursday, 1 day before the arrest. But as our I-Team's Meredith Anderson shows us, the sheriff's office has known about this for at least 6 months now.
That's
That's because I showed them and all of you some of the video of the incident in question this past summer. Now, this is body cam from an I-Team story back in July questioning this use of force against an inmate. Turns out this isn't the only time those at the sheriff's office could have seen it. And the timing of these arrests 2 years later, it might not be a coincidence. The video begins as deputies were called to the Charles Webster Detention Center for a riot. The news release deputies sent out Friday clarifies it was for unruly inmates. Sources tell the I-Team it's because inmates popped off sprinkler heads to flood the jail in protest of plumbing problems, like toilets not working. In that video, former Richmond County Deputy Quincy Cannon alleges Johnny Atkinson choked an inmate. That claim comes from this document Cannon sent to the sheriff's office a month and a half ago on January 1st. And that's not all. Cannon also sent the video in a very public email back in November to Richmond County Sheriff Richard Roundtree and then Chief Deputy Patrick Clayton. It also went to all Augusta commissioners, Augusta's mayor, and Augusta District Attorney Jared Williams. Again, this is the same video the I-Team first raised questions about back in July, so this hasn't exactly been a secret. Far from it.
Tonight, Cannon and Wilson tell our I-Team's Meredith Anderson that's not enough.
We first showed you this video when Cannon and Robert Wilson first broke their silence about what they say really happened the night a fellow Richmond County deputy was shot in the face. Cannon, Wilson, and Andrew Acosta were arrested after the suspect, Vernon Craddock Jr., claimed they assaulted him. Both Cannon and Wilson say after a very long shift, their body cameras ran out of battery.
Mine had died at the scene.
Mine's died at the scene as well.
So this surveillance video is all investigators had to go on when Craddock claimed he was beaten while handcuffed once deputies were able to get him alone in the elevator.
I'm thinking there's cameras at the sheriff's office or in the elevator. Apparently there's no cameras in the elevator. So when we get...
You didn't know there were no cameras?
No,
we thought cameras was all over the place.
Yes, it's the sheriff's office.
Had cameras been rolling, Cannon says we would have seen Craddock try to headbutt them. He says his training kicked in and he responded appropriately. It happened so fast, Wilson says he never saw anything and was charged because of willful blindness.
Since it happened in the elevator, you was in there, you must have known about it. I was like, even though my back was turned, he's like, yeah, you failed to report it. I was like, report what? Something I didn't see?
A grand jury returned a no bill, clearing them of all charges. District Attorney Jared Williams took it a step further by signing this document expunging them of their charges. But here's where that jail video comes in. Cannon and Wilson believe it shows a double standard at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Back in July, when we first showed it to you, Atkinson and Birch hadn't been arrested yet. No one had. But the I-Team had also recently uncovered Deputy Ty Daly punched an arrestee several times in the face and did not report it. And he wasn't disciplined until the I-Team exposed it.
I'm trying to figure out the difference between the two. You got stack A over here involving a Hispanic deputy, a black deputy, and a white deputy. You got stack B over here involving 2 Caucasian deputies. Let's burn them. Let's give them a second chance.
They also pointed to Deputy Brandon Keithley, who is still on administrative leave with pay. The I-Team has since been able to show you this video of Keithley hitting a fellow deputy in the head with a flashlight.
Did you just see me with a flashlight, dude?
A grand jury indicted Keithley. He still hasn't been to trial. But back to the jail video and the timing of these arrests Friday. Quincy Cannon has been exploring legal options. The Equal Opportunity Employment Commission closed his case Monday, February 5th. That's when records show he got this right to sue letter, where all along he's questioned how this jail incident 2 years ago was handled. 3 days later, on February 8th, Internal Affairs claim it first became aware of the jail incident. The next day, both deputies were arrested. Okay, both Wilson and Cannon declined to be interviewed again today, but both tell me they are planning to sue. Cannon says he wanted to handle this privately and tried to get the Richmond County Sheriff's Office to sit down for mediation 3 times.
that very public email where he sent everything he had, including that jail video, to Augusta leaders. He says that was an attempt to get them to come to the table, but they refused. And some breaking news just minutes ago. I'm holding that release right now. The sheriff's office tells us 3 more deputies have been arrested in connection with that May 2022 jail incident. Now, this comes after last Friday with the arrest of Atkinson and Birch. Today, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office arrested Daniel DeVersa and Dantavian Jones, also retired Lieutenant John Whitaker. We will be posting more information in this newly released news release online at wrdw.com.
Meredith Anderson reporting for us there. Meredith, thanks very much. New tonight, 4 men in jail in connection to a cross-country fraud scheme that tried to target a business in Columbia County. We have some video showing that massive law enforcement presence and police response off Lewiston Road. This is Friday night.
After that major manhunt, investigators say the suspects were tied to gang activity, with more on the run. As Sydney Hood explains, if it wasn't for an armed convenience store manager, that spree could still be going on.
That time I grab a gun, the car move on this side, and I shoot on that car, and they just run away.
Too many people to count.
I try to grab one person that time to make sure we can find the whole link.
We have approximately 16 suspects that were cashing checks.
This group usually targets businesses who do check cashing, like Lewiston Express, because it's a lot easier to walk into than a bank.
We had drivers of several vehicles that did not come into the store. And then we have the individuals that came into the store who were dressed like normal workers from the company,
carrying what looked like business checks from a nearby siding company.
Checks look just like totally original. No one can tell after see because they have like all the signs, logo, prints, everything right. When I call the Wrdw, he say, no, I didn't write any check.
It was more than one check. 14 to 16 checks?
Yes. One at a time, like one person, one check. Almost $900, $980, $960. Different amounts. At least 900 plus. Yeah, all of them.
We have to go through each of these checks and see if this was a real check or a fraudulent check. We are checking on those to see which ones match up with money lost.
And the Columbia County Sheriff's Office says they're still identifying the others who ran and double-checking the identities of the 4 they have in custody.
They're working with ICE and Border Patrol to help ID them.
Well, we've seen a lot of rain today, and we're seeing more tonight, and actually bringing back some stronger winds as we get into late tonight. I'm looking at that first alert forecast just after the break.
Time and
A leak on your roof can be bad news. Leaks can cause costly structural damage, mold, and even health problems. The next time it rains, don't let the water in your home.
Call Roof Savers now or check us out online at myroofsavers.com.
Save your roof, save your money.
Imagine you're stopped in traffic. Roadworks brought the highway to a halt. Imagine looking in the rearview mirror. The 18-wheeler behind you is driving too fast for conditions. But you're lucky to be alive. You imagine how much worse it could have been. Imagine knowing you can call all nines 24/7 and get the help you need. The team at George Sink Injury Lawyers has the experience to help you. We've helped thousands of people get the money they need. Call all nines now.
All right, welcome. Getting to the weekend. Saturday, there's going to be the opportunity for our next front to show up. Right now, it doesn't look like significant rain, but just a chance for a few showers.
7 decades of stories, news, and being on your side. We're celebrating a big milestone here at News 12 and giving you a peek behind the scenes of the technology that makes it all happen. Next.
First alert.
And everything else you're entitled to.
Call John Foy and Associates now.
We know a lot has changed in 70 years. This month, News 12 is celebrating 70 years of being on the air and on your side.
As we celebrate how far we've come in 7 decades to bring you the best news coverage possible, we're giving you a peek behind the scenes into the future of how local news is transforming.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Much like the move from black and white to color, the move from our studios in North Augusta to our state-of-the-art facility off Riverwatch Parkway 3 years ago brought our news coverage into the future.
I started in
TV engineering back in 1985 at the PBS station back in Denver, Colorado.
That's Joe McGee, our chief engineer. He's in charge of making sure the 10 to 15 miles of wire in this room all communicate to bring you the news.
But the technology in this room is state of the art.
It's safe to say he's seen a lot of change over the years.
It has come so far from back then. It was 2-inch tape that was, that wide. And now we don't have a tape machine in the place. So it's changed a lot.
From innovation to automation, TV news now works leaner than ever before.
Back in the day, you'd have an operator for each camera with a floor director, everybody in the crew in the control room, a prompter operator. The list goes on and on. The only people that are in this studio now is the talent.
And now we have the teleprompter right here on this little wand. I can ease the button up and the script goes forward. I can ease it back, it goes backwards.
Behind the scenes, the directors control the robotic cameras through automation, a carefully choreographed dance where every camera turn has a programmed code.
All the shots are usually preset. They can drive them around from there.
And producers behind the scenes can more easily change scripts in real time too, for anchors to follow on the desk.
Back in the old days, we had a stack of scripts and a producer would make a change in the newscast. You had to go shuffling through the scripts, try to figure out where that script was, pull it out to the side before you put it in the trash can, pull it to the side to see if we're going to do that story, if we'll ever get to that story, and then hope your scripts are in the right order. So the iPad changes all that. Now we know what's going on immediately.
Now they change it on a computer and in real time, we see it on an iPad on the desk. When news breaks, instead of rolling out a helicopter to get a better look, we can send a drone. Instead of a huge truck with an antenna mast to ping a satellite to bring you a live report out in the field, we simply grab a backpack.
What its replacement is this. This is loaded up with 6 cellular cards, makes 6 calls all at the same time, combines the bandwidth. We talk to a receiver back here at the station, and basically there's a button push, plug in your camera, and you're live.
Making nimble work of bringing you the news now, even if we're off air.
Really, all of our digital streaming didn't exist as of a few years ago.
That's our morning anchor, Nick Proto. He's also the anchor for our digital desk, which can stream live to Facebook, YouTube, and Roku anytime news breaks.
We're on air about 40 hours a week, but news happens outside of those 40 hours too. So if something happens and we're not on air, we can hop right on here on the desk and bring it live to viewers in real time. So as breaking news unfolds, we're able to get on this desk and just push that out to people so they know exactly what's going on in real time.
And the tools to walk viewers through what's happening, from traffic to where to click on a website, that's modernized too.
This is not just a monitor. This is touchscreen. It's a big, gigantic computer monitor with touchscreen ability. Now over here, we have what we call our big, gigantic iPad.
As news becomes more instantaneous through your smart devices and the web, the way news looks is changing. But the goal is still the same, to give you the most accurate, up-to-date news we can every time. So you may not have to be sitting in your living room to be watching us. You might be watching us from your iPhone right now, but the goal is still the same, being able to count on us to get to the bottom of something quickly.
Yeah, the idea is that accuracy first. Speed is great. Accuracy is the gold standard. And a lot of times you'll shoot entire stories on your iPhone.
That's right. The technology is so good now, we can be that nimble and get it to you live in real time. But if you think about it, everyone has a smartphone, right? But not everyone's a journalist. So we feel like local news is more important than ever because our reputation backs it up. It's what we do.
It's what you trust.
Exactly.
All right. We still make our money, though, the old-fashioned way with a commercial break, and that's where we're headed right now.
All right, what do we got? Looks like 64 yards to the pin. About 64 mile per hour winds.
Dude, there's no wind.
Hand me my 64-degree wedge.
What's it with you and 64?
Are you 64?
.com! With exceptional customer service.
Hey, Brett, I think we need a jingle.
What do you have in mind?
I don't know yet.
Well, if you think of something, come knock on my door.
Come and knock on my door.
If you're 64.
Well,
Well, if you are stepping out the rest of tonight, we are still tracking some rain on our First Alert radar network, and we are going to continue these rain chances up until close to midnight tonight. So we're not done with the rain just yet. The concern is late tonight, the wind's really going to be picking up. So we are going to continue that First Alert until tomorrow morning. Could see that winds gust around 40, 45 miles an hour at times. But luckily, beautiful weather the next couple of days, and Valentine's Day looking sunny.
Looking sunny for Valentine's Day. Sounds good, Riley. Our next live update, 7 o'clock on 26 News.
Then we're back with more news tonight at 11. We'll see you then. At the CBS Evening News, we focus on solutions, finding solutions to help people understand what are the right choices to make for you and your family.
Cracks in your brain.